Hey guys, welcome back to Tactical Review. So, hot on the heels of my video about exercising caution when modifying defensive firearms, we're going to modify my EDC handgun. Now, it's not a permanent modification, as you no doubt have seen in the video title. We're talking about the HandleIt grip tape today, and we're going to talk a little bit about why I've decided to do this. We're going to get this put on. We'll do an installation in this video, and I'll give you my first impressions. Of course, won't be able to give you long-term impressions until, well, I've had the grips on there long-term. So, yeah, let's get into this. Now, with your Glock, if indeed you carry a Glock, maybe you carry something else and you are a little unhappy with the quality of the grippiness of the factory grips. So let's start with Glocks, because that's what I have here. As a matter of fact, right here I have a 3rd generation Glock 23. I am running a Stormlight conversion barrel, so I carry a 9mm with this. And let me get up here and get closer to the camera. Now, with the 4th and 5th generation weapons, the sides have texture more like this. They're kind of some aggressive cuboids, like in the finger grooves here on the Gen 3 and the back strap, where the Gen 3 has this, I don't know if we're focusing well or not. Whoops, let's get that in frame. It's like a wannabe pebbly stippling, but it's just not very aggressive. And there was a range session a month or so ago. It was just hot and humid, and as I was drawing and then presenting, I just felt my hands slipping all over this no texture texturing. So I've been thinking through some things. I don't know, maybe you're not like me, but I have my next several purchases kind of planned out. The things I want, there's no guarantee that I'm going to get the things that I want, between other financial obligations, between what may or may not happen with federal legislation. So, just not entirely sure. But I've been thinking through things I'd like to do with my defensive handgun. One of my next planned purchases is an RMR cut slide. Now, once again, I'm carrying a 9mm. If you get looking for optics cut slides, you will see lots and lots of options for the Glock 19 and 0 options for the Glock 23. So I plan to purchase a pre-cut slide for a Glock 19 barrel, OEM Glock internals. We'll be doing a video on that if and when that happens. And one thing I was wanting to do, because I kind of got thinking through that, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm triple checking this chamber before I decock this. I'm going to have a complete Glock slide sitting around doing nothing, because the G23 9mm conversion barrel is going to be worthless in a G19 slide. So I probably will be purchasing a strip slide as well, or strip frame as well, because for about $150 more plus transfer fees, I can have a complete second firearm. So with that in mind, I started looking into grip stippling services. And I was looking through that. Yes, you can stipple your grip yourself. Yes, you may have very good success with a soldering iron or a wood burning iron and doing a kind of typical pebble grip texture. That's not exactly what I was looking for, and I don't have the time to get a nice stipple job done for myself. It's a several hour investment. By and large, I'm a big fan of DIY. I do a lot of my own work on a lot of different things, from computers to cars. But it's just not something I have the time to invest with any regularity. And it's not something you can get halfway done with and then leave it for later if we're talking about your EDC firearm. So I was looking at services to send it off to, and I may still do that. But I ended up getting a recommendation from one of our local police officers through a mutual friend for the Dawson Precision grip tape. And I looked into that, and it's really hard to get any kind of idea about the actual texture you're going to be dealing with from pictures on the internet. I understand that. But the Dawson Precision tape looks a lot like skateboard tape. And that's not a problem, okay? There's a lot of guys who put skateboard tape on their firearms. There's a lot of guys who cut up bicycle inner tubes and just slide those up over the grip in concentric areas so that those ridges give you a little bit more purchase. It looks very tacky and not tacky like looks bad, like tacky like grippy. Although some people might argue it could be both. That got me looking into and researching grip tape a little bit more. And there's obviously the Dawson Precision. Dawson Precision, if I remember right, at time of this video was running around $15 for a grip set for the third generation mid-frame Glocks. A lot of people swear by Talon grips. Talon grips, in my opinion, have priced themselves way out of the market. I don't remember what those were running, but it was substantially more than Dawson, or I came across HandleIt. The reviews on HandleIt on Amazon are very high. And so I decided, between the cost, which was something around $11 with free shipping, and the fact that I had Amazon credit sitting around, love having an Amazon Prime card. I buy stuff on Amazon anyway, might as well get some rewards back from that. So I was able to use my Amazon credit and get this sent out to me. Even though it's not Prime shipping, I still think I received it in about 3 days through USPS. So bonus points for fast shipping. And once again, you can't tell anything on camera or on pictures about the texture. But I would say if you know somebody with a third generation Glock and you just feel what that side panel texture feels like, it's very similar to what the HandleIt texture feels like, with the exception that this is a soft rubbery compound versus the harder plastic or the harder polymer of the Glock frame. So anyway, I'm cautiously excited. I've watched a couple of other installation videos, so if you've already watched that, you can probably skip the next couple of minutes. In fact, down here, I will try to tell you when my first impressions pick up if you want to just skip ahead over the installation. So anyhow, let me get my camera rearranged and zoomed in, and I went ahead and disassembled the pistol because we will be manipulating this all over, and even though I've checked and rechecked, I'm not a fan of flagging myself, or potentially, behind the camera is the main part of my house where my family all are. I don't like flagging just a couple layers of drywall between myself and my family with a completed weapon. So I'm going to be just assembling this with the slide. You can, of course, just check your chamber and leave the firearm assembled. That's your choice. All right, so I'm going to try to keep an eye up on the camera and keep everything in frame. So, the rag is not part of the normal process. That's because I didn't get my frame cleaned very well last range trip. Just a quick wipe off. And so, clean off the carbon before I drag it all over the world. Okay, because obviously it's going to be important to get all of the oils and grease off of the frame before we try to put any adhesive objects on there. There we go. I'm failing at keeping this in frame. So we're going to start with a quick test fit. Again, this is for a 3rd generation frame, so it does have the finger cutouts. Let's get the frame out of there so you can see them. The finger groove cutouts on there. If you have a Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 4 that was optioned without the finger grooves, or a Gen 5, HandleIt does have grip tape for that that's got a solid front grip, front strap, whatever you want to call that. And obviously this being for a 3rd gen, it is not designed with the deeper cutout here. There we go. There we go. The deeper cutout there for the mag ejector on both sides because the 3rd generation was not ambidextrous. Same with the slide release. Boy, this camera being backwards to me is going to give me a headache. Also comes with the back strap portion and the finger or thumb frame index position. So for your thumb on your support hand, your finger, so you can, practice good trigger discipline and have a positive place to rest your finger. All right, well, let's get into this. So once again, we want to de-oil this frame. It comes with an alcohol prep pad. So I'm going to get into that and just give everything a great wipe down. Back strap here. See about getting down into the texturing. And I do have, you may notice, a Magpul enhanced magwell on this particular frame. So we're going to have to see if that requires any modification. So, alright, get this cleaned up really well. Once I feel confident in having the frame degreased, and we're going to hit my fingers, because obviously we don't want to handle the adhesive side of the grip very much, but there will be a little bit, which is probably unavoidable. I'm about to do HandleIt a solid and try to get their logo in frame. All right, and then obviously you don't want to go right after. There it is. Right after it, the frame with the adhesive, while we still have wet rubbing alcohol in there, because that will eat the adhesive away. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with kind of a test fit and just see how this is going to work. It looks like it's going to very nicely go down against my enhanced magwell. And you do have some reference points here. You have the square cut Glock logo. you have your mag release, your slide release on the support side of a Gen 3. Well, okay, the left-hand side, I will frequently refer to that as support side because I am right-handed. Okay, and then on the opposite side, of course, you have your little reliefs here for the grip to go down into your knuckle well, thumb well, whatever you want to call the little divot here in your frame. And you have the cutout for the mag release on the right hand side. So, all right, I'm still seeing some wet rubbing alcohol on there. So while we're waiting on that to dry, the back strap, some people will choose to leave the back strap off, but it does have a little kind of half moon shaped cut. I'm gonna guess is the top, but we will, putting it on here, it looks like it might work better as the bottom. It's not labeled for how it actually goes. I think part of that's going to depend on how you choose to put it on there. If you choose to choke it up on the bit of a beaver tail, or choose to put it down more flush against the bottom of the grip. So that'll be a decision I have to make as we go. And then my end frame here ish. Okay. And then your side rail pieces have an angled cut to somewhat match up here with your takedown block. So, and I will probably more or less be centering those. All right, well, I'm not seeing any remaining wet rubbing alcohol, so well, we're not exactly doing it live, but this will be obviously a single take because I only have the one grip, and if I mess up, I'll be ordering another one and we'll start again. So there are instructions here on the back. I don't know why I gave a pause there. So it's a handful of bullet points. Okay, a couple things. Make sure that after you have the HandleIt grip on there that you are not letting firearm solvents come in contact with the grip. They are solvents. They will dissolve the adhesive. Okay, and then the way we're going to do this is I'm not going to expose the entire back at once, but it will be somewhat similar to putting a decal on a car window. Then we're going to start with it kind of lightly where we can reshape things, and before we squeeze down and make the placement permanent. So again, I'm going to try to get the backing started removing. I know some people will remove the entire backing at once. That's going to be a little bit of a matter of personal preference. So, and I'm going to very lightly try to place this. Again, I'm using the Glock logo here and frame components as reference points, not squeezing it down. That way, if I find that I have placed it incorrectly, I can reposition it. Okay, then we're gonna obviously wrap around the finger grooves. I get that the finger grooves are a very kind of controversial thing for Glock shooters. As a matter of fact, evidently enough people dislike them that Glock has completely removed them as an option in the Gen 5. I've always been a big fan. My fingers go in the grooves fairly decently, I feel like. So Anyway, so we're going to bring this on around. Again, using the mag release as a reference point. Definitely don't want to be covering the mag release, because otherwise when you eject your magazine, you are going to tear off your grip. And then, again, I have this Magpul magwell on here. I may have to do some trimming or finagling to get this to work with that. Ideally, you might want to remove your enhanced magwell. That's entirely up to you. And see how I'm liking this placement. Okay, aside from down around that magwell on the right hand side, actually, alright, let's see if I can get this up here. I feel like that's a little far forward. What we're going to do is we're going to just work this back off. Again, I haven't pushed it down snug. I'm going to try to put just a little bit more pressure on this and stretch it back just a bit. Trying to keep it down below the rolled edge of the frame. Don't want the slide to snag it and pull it off. And now that I've moved that back a little bit, I like how it's wrapping towards the back strap here. Again, struggling with keeping it in frame. And the one struggle I now have is how it is interfacing down here with that Magpul magwell. And then back here at the firing control group takedown pins, I think I'm going to have to razor blade around that. And yeah, because otherwise the takedown pin is going to remove my grip. Alright, all things considered, I'm happy with the placement. I'm now going to just kind of secure that a little bit more in place. Again, double checking the function of the magazine release. Push that down. Make that seating permanent. I'm going to step away, come over here. And pick up a handy dandy utility knife blade that I've had in the area for other projects. And I'm going to push this in place down around my Magpul magwell. And if I can get it to push underneath, I will. Otherwise, I will be cutting off just a little bit. It looks like it's sliding under pretty nicely. My in frame, I don't even know, guys. Sorry. Alright, that side looks good. The left hand side is looking pretty good. Again, make sure that you conform it here at the frame, where the frame rolls down into the trigger guard. Make sure that you get it pressed down in the grip position. And guys, I'm going to tell you, this is already feeling so much better than just the bare stock polymer. Very, very excited to have an opportunity to get this out to the range and test this. And now let's see if I can carve out for this pin without destroying the world, or causing a medical emergency. Very nice, very nice. Sorry guys, again, I'm concentrating on the actual work, so if it gets out of frame, I apologize. And I've seen installation videos where they don't bother with clearing the pinhole. That's going to be definitely a personal choice. I don't often I have never removed my fire control group from this pistol, but I also want to maintain the option because that's how it was designed, obviously. This right hand side came back a little further into it, and this isn't the newest razor blade, so it's not the sharpest blade I have in my house. It just happened to be the closest that wasn't my EDC blade that is not meant to be used for things like this. All right. Okay. Scarred up the end of that plastic pin a little bit, but let's face it, most of us don't carry a Glock to win any kind of beauty contest, right? Alright. Let's see about getting that pressed down in there. And if you read down here through the instructions, it does tell you after it's been firmly pressed in place to heat the grip with a hairdryer not exceeding 130 degrees and then firmly press again. For best results, repeat that process 2 or 3 times. So that'll be something that I do. It will be beyond this video because I'm sure that watching somebody heat a grip with a hairdryer is the height of entertainment. Okay, now I have a choice. I can run this grip up the beaver tail here, which will have the added advantage of leaving the access hole for my magwell available, or I can bring it down here and put it flush and this is where I wish I was doing this on a live stream and I can get you guys' input. So I'm really not sure which I would prefer. And once again, I get one shot at it. Alright. I think I'm going to ride up higher. Yeah, it's going to leave some of the bottom down here not gripped. But kind of thinking, when you look at a combat grip, I'm not going to be able to get this underneath at all. your hand's kind of V down here at the bottom of the mag well with where your grip is, where you have a lot of contact up at the top of the beaver tail. So I'm going to choose to take this backstrap piece up along the bottom. The video that I watched the other day, the fellow was installing it on a 19X, and he made the opposite choice. So you're going to have to do what you think is going to work best for you. Okay, so once again, we're going to center this best as we can. And since I'm wrapping up under the beaver tail here, I'm going to start from there and work it down towards the bottom. Again, deciding how that's going to wrap, and that looks like that is not going to be the way I want it. So you can see that there's some different sizes in these notches. I think for what I'm wanting to do here, I actually want that smaller one up near the top. All right. Bear with me here. If I'm not talking, I will speed up parts of this if there's no conversation being had. All right. Now then, we're more or less centered. This would be easier if this was an FDE frame. It's not. I'm sorry. Not really sorry. I'm a fan of the traditional black block, but you know, whatever. All right, and then we're going to press this around once we're satisfied with the centering of it. Okay. And the nice thing is that the way I chose to do this backstrap piece has avoided those pins that I had to cut around with the front piece. And just press that in place, being careful to work out any bubbles, not introduce any more. Okay. And yeah, got one up here on the bottom of that. I keep saying beaver tail. I realize it's not a full beaver tail. Somebody might call me out on that in the comments. Oh no. So that's what I have ended up with. Again, it's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but it does feel like a good positive grip back here. I like it. I like it a lot. HandleIt, maybe option either a longer backstrap piece or a perforated piece. I don't know. I would like to see that having the option, or a couple of different packages maybe even, where you might have the option to go all the way from the bottom to the top. Maybe I'm the only guy in the world that would like to have that. Not sure. And I do see where I've got a little bit of an offset here on that front strap piece. Again, I'm not going for any beauty contests. This is meant to be purely functional. Any additional aesthetics, you know, yay, I guess. Okay, so now we have our side frame pieces, and again, you want to look at the angled cut. I don't know if you can even see that. Make sure that your angled cut is lining up properly. So there is a left and right here. They're not labeled, because hopefully we can figure this out. If you're struggling, pick up one of those Fisher-Price shape blocks before you proceed with the installation. Yeah, it sounds like I'm picking on you, but I have colleagues who struggle with stacking lunch trays together. So, you know, it's not just you. Just line up the shapes. I am more or less centering this. And you can leave these side frame pieces off if you want. But again, that's right where, with a good thumbs forward grip, that's right where your thumb's going to be riding on the slide. It's nice to have some positive grip there. As a matter of fact, when you look at the stippling services offered here, there, and everywhere, virtually every one of them stipple up here on the side of the frame in front of the takedown block. So, and I may still send a frame off for stippling. I don't know. Rock Your Glock has some really competitive looking prices. I have been in contact with them. They only offer on their website shipping via USPS. USPS, if you haven't looked into it, only allows shipping to FFLs, where some other stippling services actually will list it as a firearm repair, which will let you use UPS or FedEx, at least at the time I'm making this video. And because it's listed as a repair, it can be sent back directly to the owner without involving a second FFL. I contacted Rock Your Glock about this, and they said that they would be willing to work with me on that. Because some of the pictures of their stippling on their website don't look very nice, but I have seen photos of folks who have sent their frames off to Rock Your Glock, and the pictures on their website, especially of their older, more kind of traditional stippling jobs, they don't do it justice. And they have a really nice, I think they call it cubes, that is probably what I'll go for if I send one off for stippling. Anyway, you know, and then you could probably find a local guy to do it. Again, you can stipple a frame yourself. It's not necessarily difficult to get a stipple job that will be functional. It does seem to be difficult to get one that is functional and attractive, and it's very time consuming. Kind of like a trigger guard undercut. You can do it fast, you can do it nice, or you can do it right, kind of thing. So if you're going to be modifying the serialized part of your firearm, take your time, do it right. So speaking of trigger guard undercut, let's see if I can get in here. Again, I am using the little 1.5" screen on my camera. I'm not sure how visible this is. But this grip does end well down below the transition into the lower trigger guard. I will probably be doing an undercut on this and moving, obviously, it's an undercut. I'm going to be moving this forward. It's not so much that I want a higher grip on the frame as much as it is I want to round this off and, you know, kind of eliminate Glock knuckle thing. Maybe smooth this casting mark out of my frame. That'll be another video. That's another conversation. Alright, so got the grip on, got it squeezed in place, and it obviously I won't have range impressions until I go to the range, but I think it looks fantastic. Again, the way you do the back strap is going to be up to you. It feels, I can't describe it. It feels fabulous. It's grippy, almost, I'm trying to decide how to describe this to you. Almost like dry, well, it's a not quite as tacky as vehicle underlayment or undercoat, underbody coating. It's like a kind of like bed liner, but the less aggressive bed liner. Okay, you can see that it's not the most aggressive texture. Again, it reminds you of a more rubbery version of the side texture from a Gen 3 Glock. Okay, and if you've had a Cerakote job done on it, there's the laser cut HandleIt logo on the side. I don't know if my camera's focusing or not. I apologize. I'm failing at this so badly. And then the cutout for the Glock logo. I will roll in some photos on the B-roll. But yes, I'm very happy with my purchase, especially at about $12. I will put an affiliate link in the description. No, I'm probably going to put it in the first comment and a pinned comment. That way I don't have to worry about YouTube freaking out as their robot crawls through item descriptions. I'll be adding this to my store of links on the Facebook page for $12. If it falls off in a month, I will update this, and that's that. It's $12. But I have to say, the police officer who recommended the Dawson Precision grip tape said that he has had that on his duty weapon. Okay, and there's a good point. Duty weapons. Police officers aren't allowed to make permanent modifications to their duty weapons, which just puts stippling right out the window. So something like this, I could grab this right now, peel it back off, and then just take some rubbing alcohol and clear off whatever adhesive is left. Not a big deal, not a permanent modification. So again, this isn't stippling, but it gives a lot more positive control. All right, positive control means better likelihood of hitting the bad guy in the unlikely event that you need to hit the bad guy. And anyway, so got sidetracked there. So the police officer who recommended me checking out grip tape, he said that he has had the Dawson Precision grip tape on his duty weapon for a year and a half, and this is a police officer who takes advantage of the range time his department offers. Okay, I know that there's some officers who only unholster their weapon once a year at qualifications. If you're an officer who's watching that and watching this and that describes you, sir, ma'am, shame on you. Especially if your department offers training ammunition, offers range time. Get out there and use it. We've discussed this before. Firearms proficiency is a perishable skill. Anyway, so this officer who does take advantage of the range time offered by his department has had his Dawson Precision grip tape on his weapon for a year and a half. So we'll have to see how well the HandleIt grip stays on there. I'm seeing now where I've off-centered some stuff. It might bother my OCD, it might not. Anyway, guys, I'm going to break out the hairdryer and finish up getting this installed. You don't need to see that. You don't need to hear that. If you would like to support the channel, on screen now you will see my Patreon link. If you're watching on Gunstreamer, you can hit up the contributors link. I've got a basic one-tier system set up. If you'd like to support me at the minimum, it's just $1 a month, or you can set that up to whatever you'd like. More important than supporting my channel is supporting all of our Second Amendment rights. Down in the description, you will find links to Gun Owners of America. You'll find links to the Firearm Policy Coalition, and you'll find links to the Second Amendment Foundation. Get over there, and if you're looking for a good way to spend some money, throw it after these organizations who are fighting tooth and nail to prevent more anti-gun legislation at the national level. And they're fighting in your local areas, not to mention the fact that you do have local in your state organizations that you can support. Even if you're not going to join Gun Owners of America or Firearms Policy Coalition, Second Amendment Foundation, check out their websites. They have action links. It makes it very easy to contact your government representatives and tell them that you support no further Second Amendment infringements. Remind them that you are a single-issue voter, and them infringing your rights equals a vote they don't have in the next election. All right, guys. And remember, when all else fails, handle it. Until next time, shoot straight, stay safe. Thanks for watching Tactical Review.